An entrepreneur is the one who provides jobs, who respond to people's requirement, who turn demands into supply, change the society with new innovative products, result in economic integration of outsiders, supporting the international trade, promotes capital formation, in turn the main resource for venture capital. To acknowledge all the risk an entrepreneur takes and the way he works for the solution, leading every nation towards economic stability and satisfied community development. World's Entrepreneurs Day is celebrated on 21st August every year. I, Kishan GS, Associate Member TiE Mysuru Chapter, Professor Department of Mechanical Engineering, Maharaj Institute of Technology, Mysore, on behalf of TiE Mysuru Chapter, extend the belated wishes to each and every one of you on the Entrepreneurs Day celebrated at the world. You can focus on things that are barriers, or you can focus on scaling the wall or redefining the problem. This quote by Tim Cook seems to be much authenticated for today's TiE Mysuru Knowledge Series Masterclass on Storytelling, a Scaleup Mantra by Pradeep Yuvaraj. A warm greetings to everyone present here. Now I request Colonel Ravi to welcome the wonderful gathering for the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, again a fantastic Saturday and again a fantastic event planned by TiE Mysuru. On behalf of TiE Mysuru, once again I welcome all the August gathering and the audience here, and also a warm welcome to Mr. Pradeep for the sessions today, and I think we're all looking forward to it. Another very warm welcome to our new members from Cresta College. Give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. New members of TiE Mysuru from Cresta College. Without much ado, I think let's begin the story. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening.
This day, of course, demands celebration on account of the success of Chandrayaan-3 executed by ISRO. Kudos to each individual involved in the mission, and also not to forget the team members who were involved in Chandrayaan-2, who set the benchmark for the present team to achieve this glory. Along with this team across the globe, there are few noticeable contributions even from the Mysuru ecosystem. Starting with Keynes Technology, provided the art power packages that played a vital role in providing the essential power needed for the mission's lander and rover. To our beloved charter member, Mr. Ramesh Kannan sir, Managing Director, and his team, a hearty congratulations for the entire team there. Second, Ferro Tiger, owned by Mr. Abbas Wag, now being run by the second generation, Mr. Ali Wag, our charter member, made models of Chandrayaan-3 with their associate craftisan. Congratulations to Mr. Ali Wag and team. In fact, if everyone are free to go with this, please look into Mr. Mahesh Ketale's mobile. We have the wonderful models which are portrayed in his mobile. Next, MyPol, Mysuru Polymers and Rubber Products Limited, had supplied linear rubber bellow, a very critical part used for heat shield separation for Chandrayaan-2 as well as Chandrayaan-3 mission. Both seems to be successful, and this critical part was jointly developed between Vikram Sarabhai Space Center engineers and MyPol's product development specialist. A hearty congratulations to MyPol as well. Other government entities from Mysuru have their own way of contribution to this mission, and since the data is confidential, we cannot bring those contributions to this forum. Congratulations to even them as well. Can we all extend a standing ovation to all these contributors from Mysuru ecosystem and the entire country who made us proud, who made our country proud. Thank you. Now, I would request Mr. Adarsh Sudhindra, Associate Member, TiE Mysuru, to introduce the speaker, Mr. Pradeep Yuvaraj, to the August gathering.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Kishan. So, as kids, all of us, remember sitting around our ajjas and ajis, listening to hundreds of stories about their life, their experiences, and their ideas. Right? So, humans have been doing this for millions of years. So, humans, the ancient humans, right from the beginning, we became humans. Have always sat around the bonfires in the evenings, listening to stories from the elders of the tribe. These would include, stories of the past, the ideas of God, the Almighty, the future, what the tribe should look out for, what the tribe should not look out for. So storytelling is an integral part of us human beings. Right? Storytelling is the most natural way ideas are communicated from one generation to another. Information is delivered within communities and societies. So we are lucky today, we have a session, a masterclass on storytelling. So today we have the privilege of hosting an individual whose life story reads like an odyssey of entrepreneurship, learning, and globe-trotting adventures. And it's my distinct honor to introduce Mr. Pradeep Yuvaraj. Mr. Pradeep describes himself as jack of many trades and master of fun. Right? He is a storyteller, an entrepreneur, and a strategist par excellence. As the managing director and chief storyteller of Presentim, he has transformed the narrative landscape of over 620 startups from every continent in the world, including Antarctica. Under his guidance, these ventures have raised an astounding $150 million in funds. But this is just a facet of his entrepreneurial journey with experience in founding several ventures and a significant tenure in corporate giants like ExxonMobil, Shell Petroleum, and Total SA. Mr. Pradeep's understanding of business development in general is both deep and global. His commitment to sharing knowledge is evident with over 9,500 hours dedicated to coaching on storytelling, communication skills, and creative thinking. He has inspired countless individuals across universities in Tamil Nadu and beyond. His association with TiE Coimbatore, both as a charter member and currently the honorary secretary, and his leadership roles in TiE University and TiE Women Program speaks volumes about his dedication towards fostering entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial ecosystems. So beyond the business side of things, Mr. Pradeep, has linguistic prowess, right? So his linguistic prowess is noteworthy. He's fluent in 12 languages, including German and Russian. He epitomizes the spirit of global connectivity through his linguistic prowess. And his about his adventurous spirits. This is very interesting. So, a trans-Siberian road trip covering 21,500 kilometers from Coimbatore all the way to St. Petersburg stands testimony. As an electronics engineer from Pune with an MBA from Symbiosis and advanced credentials from the Indian School of Business and IIM Ahmedabad, Mr. Pradeep's academic achievements mirror his professional ones. From auto sports to advertising, from representing India in Germany through the Rotary Group Study Exchange, to being an eloquent public speaker, his versatility is awe-inspiring. Today, as we eagerly await his insights and stories, let us not just welcome a speaker on the dais, but a man whose life is a testament to perseverance, passion, and the transformative power of storytelling. Please join me in giving a rousing welcome to Mr. Pradeep Yuvaraj. Very warm welcome to you, sir.
Cool. I was just telling others that it was a little embarrassing. I don't know who that person was you were talking about, right? At least the adjectives, I don't know who they are for. So when we were in college, we always used to hate these guys who stood on the podium. And I'm sure all of us empathize with that. So is it okay if I come down there and do the session? Wonderful. And Mahesh, can you help me get this moved off the table? Yeah. Oops. Good evening. This is not the good evening I expect from entrepreneurs who are supposed to be the best in the city, people who are charter members. I heard so many pains about you that these are the best individuals in this city and the best entrepreneurs. And if this is what Mysuru gives me as a good evening, then I'm a little worried about the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Give me the best good evening you have ever given anyone, at least in this hall. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good evening! Looks like we will have to do this after 10 o'clock when some pegs have gone down. Oh yeah, this should blow away. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Wonderful to be here. And Adarsh, you actually missed out on one thing, that let's welcome an individual whose home TiE Mysuru is now, because I feel as much a part of TiE Mysuru now as anyone else. In fact, this relationship began exactly at this location when the TiE University thing was happening, and I was the bellboy. So I was supposed to ring the bell when the judges were going overtime, and Adarsh was one of those judges. So wonderful, from bellboy to speaker. And I am a little scared as well, because the word Masterclass is a big crown on my shoulders. So I'll try to see if I can do justice to that. Vicky, slides. Thank you. The theme that I wanted to talk to all of you today about was stories as a scale-up mantra, right? A lot of us are constantly now in this entrepreneurial ecosystem talking about investment, right? But somehow I feel probably if we all focus on scaling up, then all those things will automatically fall in place. Investments and funding, although that's my breadwinner, I make pitch decks as a profession, but I feel are too glamorized, especially with all the TV serials that we see. And I see a lot of youngsters here, so I thought let me focus on the scale-up part, but with something that I know and that's something I have experience in, which is stories. And so proud, there were goosebumps on my hand when you spoke about Mysuru and its connection with the moon. I carry equal stories from my city, Coimbatore. Almost 7 or 8 different companies have contributed to it, including the fact that my landlord, the building where I am right now residing, is the gentleman who supplied carbon clothing to the rockets. So, that's, I think it's a matter that all of us will be proud for decades to come. I usually try to start my sessions with doing something different, and that's what we will try to do. What I will do is, I will put on some music. I want you to close your eyes, forget everything that is troubling you, including your neighbor's daughter Kamala running away, right? Forget all that and stay with me here 100% mentally, physically, and emotionally. Yeah, please close your eyes, take deep breaths, just relax, forget everything that's troubling you. Just relax. Take real deep breaths, forget everything, your investor not coming, your employee not coming, absenteeism, loans, payments, checks, blah, blah, blah. Just relax.
Agni kunjondru kandeen, Agni kunjondru kandeen, Angoru kaattilor, adai angoru kaattilor pondidai vaithen, Agni kunjondru kandeen, adai angoru kaattilor pondidai vaithen, vendu tanindadu kaadu, vendu tanindadu kaadu, தழல் வீரத்தில் குன்றென்றும் மூப்பென்றும் நோ.
Wonderful. Please open your eyes. Anyone slept off? With Kamala running away, it's difficult to sleep, but wake up. There are two reasons why I always play this song as a prefix to my workshops. One is all of us are constantly running. Sometimes we know why we are running, sometimes we don't know why we are running, right? And I have learnt in the 3 attempts of my failed attempt at engineering graphics in engineering, that if there's a small direction of change over a long period of time, you will actually end up at Lucknow instead of reaching Delhi when you tried it, right? So it's very important for us as entrepreneurs to take a step back and look at where we are headed. Is this where I wanted to go? Is this the direction I wanted to read? If yes, brilliant. If no, important to do course correction. But more importantly, and because Mr. Sabrishan is also from the city and we are proud Tamilians probably, the lyrics of the song, Agni kunjondru kandene ade angoru kaatilor pondirai veithen, vendu tanindadu kaadu talal veerathil kunjondru moopendru mundo, said Mahakavi Bharadiyar. He wrote this sometime in the 1920s, and what he said is, I took a spark of fire, a small ember of fire, Hindi mein what we call as a chingari, and I left it deep inside the forest. When I came back the next day morning, what happened? The entire forest was burned down to ashes. And that is the power of the Indian youth. He wrote this in the context of the British freedom struggle, because the youngsters were feeling overwhelmed about the British being a big forest. And he said that as a spark of fire, you can burn down the entire forest. For you and me as entrepreneurs, that spark is nothing but the idea that each one of us have in our mind. That idea, your entrepreneurial idea, your startup idea, your business idea, the idea that I want to go and step on the moon, and on the darker side of the moon where no one else has ever been, is what is so powerful that it can burn down the entire world or the forest. Metaphorically, it means you can change the entire world if you do one thing to the idea. If you read physics properly in school, you remember that for the fire triangle, you need 3 things. What is that? Source of fire, oxygen, and fuel, right? So the more we fuel those ideas with oxygen and fuel, the more those ideas have the power to change the entire world. And I think that's what TiE is trying to do by powering these ideas and fueling them so that we all, in our own way, burn down the entire forest or change the world to be a better place. I know there might be some environmentalists who might not like this poem, but let me also make it clear, because I had this question some time ago. Mahakavi Bharadiyar, what burns down? Does a green forest burn down? It never burns down. So his metaphor was the British was an old empire, an old tree, rotting tree, and that's why it burned down. So don't get scared that the metaphor is about burning down a tree, right? And don't sue me as well. So with that context, I would like to set forth what we have for the next 7 hours of my masterclass today. Why, sir? Something wrong? Ah, okay. Door close pannunga. Right? Cool. The 3 things that I would like to talk to you about. Number 1, I would like to talk to you about the importance of perspective through a small activity that we will do. Second, I would like to talk to you about storytelling and things that relate to storytelling from whatever I have learned in my own profession. And third, like I said, because the theme is scale up, how do you as a leader use stories to move an army alongside you or behind you or in front of you to change the world? So these are the 3 things that I will try to do in the 82 odd minutes that I have left. I was given 90 minutes, 82 odd minutes that I have left. I will try to do that. But before that, I have a very fundamental question, and there's a youngster here, so we'll start off with her. What's your name? Jochana. Before you go to watch a movie, Jochana, what do you do to decide whether you want to see the movie or no? You watch the reviews, right? Like you go to YouTube and then you read the IMDb rating, right? You are here for a movie that is going to last 90 minutes. How do you decide you want to see this movie? Oh, there's an influencer. Don't believe these influencers, yeah? Wonderful. And that's kind of a wonderful reflection of how the world today is, right? We are all driven by influencers. Now, who the influencer is, I don't know, right? So what I'll do, Joshna, is I'll take a couple of minutes because I'm a very narcissistic person, right? I'll tell about myself and my story, okay? More than some more additional adjectives than what others used. And then you decide whether you want to sit for this movie or no, okay? If you decide yes, I need a promise from all of you. 100% mentally, physically, emotionally, you have to be here. Okay? If you decide no, he's your dad? Yeah. Right. Sir, if she decides no and she walks out, you will not, cut her pocket money. Please promise. Promise? God promise? Wonderful. So Jyotsna, you have all control to get away and move. And I'll also tell you these stories because later on, you will be able to connect some of the dots. So I started my career working for 3 of the largest companies in the world, ExxonMobil, Total, and Shell Petroleum, selling oil and gas, primarily LPG for these companies across different geographies in India. They were probably the largest companies in the world at that time and now as well. Somewhere in 2004, I did a stupid thing. I purchased a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And like Arjuna's son, read it halfway and decided to do something. Right? Like you read the whole thing, then maybe you're a little more sensible, but you read halfway, then you're so excited that I called my boss and I said, Nitin, I want to become an entrepreneur. In fact, Nitin is from Belgaum, Nitin Huilgol, and said, Nitin, at 11 o'clock, that Nitin, I want to become an entrepreneur. And I'm going home. And he asked me, what are you going to do? I don't know. I said, I don't know, but I want to be an entrepreneur. Shiva, there's something interesting about the entrepreneur there. What? Spider-Man. Okay? Superman. Wonderful. Why, sir? He has a cape, but why? Why for an entrepreneur? Because we entrepreneurs, except for wearing the underwear or the pant, we all think we are Superman. I will change the world. I will make this world a different place. With those dreams, I came to Coimbatore saying that I will change the world and make the world a better place. I started a company that was into race bike designing. The company did wonderfully bad. I failed. I lost around 7 million rupees of my hard-earned money. I was a failure. This cameraman is going to abuse me today. I think you go to the last spot, boss. It's very difficult. Sir, you're not married, right? What's your name? He is telling, look at the smile on my face. Do you think I'm married? Right, Aryan, yeah. You're 27 and you have failed in your first business and you've lost 70 lakh rupees of your money. Yeah. What is the biggest outcome, Aryan?
I think I would learn from the failures that I've been through.
What's the outcome? Those are the gains, but what's the biggest outcome?
Me being a failure.
Yeah, what's the outcome of that? No one will give you his daughter's hand in marriage to you. Biggest outcome. My mother started getting all the jadagams back, like return to sender, and she's wondering why these jadagams are coming back, like with the post office sending them back, right? So Aryan, if you want to become an entrepreneur, become after you get married, okay? Don't become before that, risky thing. Anyway, so as fate had to have it, the bug is a little dangerous like COVID, it stays for long, the entrepreneurial bug, and I decided to start my own next venture. And this is when, Aryan, the world gave me a very fancy tag. You know what? Serial entrepreneur. Go to LinkedIn today. Most of the tags there will be one coach, second storyteller, every Tom, Dick and Harry like me, third leadership, fourth TEDx speaker, and fifth consultant, right? The word serial entrepreneur, although especially for the youngsters here, okay, although it looks fancy, what it really means is this guy made a mistake, failed once, and was foolish enough to do it the second time. Because statistics has proven time and again that 95% of entrepreneurial ventures will fail. They will fail. Out of the 620 customers that I've had, at least 70% of them have closed their business. But does that mean you should not be an entrepreneur? No. That means that's the first stepping stone, and that's where you start leaping ahead. So with that as my background, I started my next company, which was again a great failure. I lost 3 million of my hard-earned money, and I was back to the streets. Everything that I had saved at Shell, back to square one. My third company was on the way to becoming a great success. We were India's first workplace financial education with a proposition that every $1 that you spend on your employees teaching them how to manage money, you as a company earn $4. We were on the verge of getting funded by Nexus Capital, and then the Americans decided to show us the middle finger. What happened? Komla, what happened in 2008? Apart from the fact that you had braces. 2008, the Lehman Brothers crisis happened, and my investors pulled out because they said we can't fund a service kind of a model at a stage when the whole world is crashing. So I was literally back to the street with not even a penny in the pocket to buy a cup of tea. Literally that was the state that I had. You fail for 3 times. I should ask this to a youngster. Yes, ma'am, the lady who came in late. Yes. No, the both of them are looking at each other. We both. What's your name, Kana? Lasya. You failed 3 times in your life. Who do you become like? Yeah? Which movie character do you become like? No idea, Lasya? You become like Deadpool. Right? If you've seen the movie Deadpool, you hit any number of times bullets, he will still keep getting back. A corollary is Rajnikant from my state. Okay? Oh, is your parent somewhere here? We will talk separately later on, okay? All right. Wonderful. So that's what failure does. And to the youngsters here, I want you to take the biggest message from this, that you will fail. The first time is very, very difficult. My mom was not even able to face our neighbor. She didn't come out of the house because your son has failed. Someone who was working in a big company, now suddenly back to the streets. Second time, little lesser pain. Third time, vada machan paathukalam, right? The key is fail fast. As soon as possible. Try to take the risks now when you are young, when you are 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 30, 40, 45 also. So I fall in the young category. Fail fast, as the Americans say. Because then your possibilities of success becoming higher, higher, higher. If you fail at my age today, probably at 45, the chances are that you may never go back to being an entrepreneur. And the world needs entrepreneurs. So with that under my belt, my next 3 companies were successes. One I sold to my own employee and exited. One I sold to my own partner and exited. One I sold to a company in Mangalore and exited. Made some decent money. Not enough to cover what I lost, but enough to cover my face and get the shame away from my mother's head. Yeah, absolutely, yes, sir. Absolutely, yes. But actually, when I got married, by then I had already sold these companies. So, yeah. Right? So, yeah, it does help on the resume as well. And when you do this, you reach a stage of nirvana which is called as survivor entrepreneur. What is a survivor entrepreneur? Is when you learn that making money is not at all difficult. But what is difficult is making money while trying to make the world a better place and also doing something that you love. Adding meaning to the world is a difficult thing. But I have realized making money is not at all difficult. Absolutely not at all difficult. Sometimes you have to compromise, sometimes you don't have to compromise and you can still make money. So for the last 14 years, I have been married to this first wife called Prasantam. Technically, only one is the first wife, sir. Second is not a wife at all. So I don't know who Shanti is at home. We are one of India's very few presentation strategy companies. We work with startups, primarily in the Series A and pre-Series A, and help them tell their stories to investors so that they're able to understand what these guys are doing and make more money. We've been very glad to work with companies in the extremities of domains. One of my customers manufactures Glock guns. One of them is exporting hemoglobin from Hyderabad. One of them is using the human DNA as a memory storage. Theoretically, they have proven that whatever is there on all Amazon servers can actually be put into one human body in the DNA. That's the great luck I have of working with these entrepreneurs. And like I said, I have seen their failures, I've seen their successes. The numbers that you said of the fund raised, I don't think that's the success parameter at all. That's a very small parameter, and I think it's a wrong parameter to judge success by how much you have raised. How much you have raised is equal to you are indebted to someone for that how much raised, right? So I don't know whether that's the right thing. That's a debatable thing we will talk about later on. But with that experience, I've combined the experience of having been in 17 different states of the country, as a student, as an employee of companies, as a traveler, and try to bring all those learnings into 75 minutes of what Mahesh has decided to call Masterclass. Hour of reckoning. You want to sit for the next 75 minutes or no? What is the promise you had?
What is the promise?
That you are supposed to do if you say yes.
Mentally, physically, emotionally, be here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Akanksha. So mentally, physically, emotionally, I want you to be here. Wonderful. With that as the context, can I ask all of you to please take your phones in your hand and throw them? I will count in reverse till 10. I want you to be sitting at a place where none of the people are the same people sitting with you on your left, right, center, back, forward. Now I'm separating you and daddy, see? Your time, and whoever is left, I have a photographic memory, so I know where you were exactly sitting. So whoever is left, you'll have to sing a song for me. Time starts now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.9, 1.8, 1.7, 1.6, 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, 1.1. There are some smart Alex like Dr. Mahesh Rao. Neengalam pongada macha, I will sit here only. Good strategy sometimes, it works. If everyone else changes, right? I'm sorry, sir? Yeah. I know, wonderful. And that's one of the key things that we talk about in creative thinking, is this whole inability to change and to react to change. Wonderful. So, Rashid and Mahesh, can you distribute those sheets to all of them fast? Yeah. Shikram. Good. So, we'll do some exercise for the kidney that we have on the top of our head. I'll give you some sheets and I want you to do some exercise. I hope all of you have a paper and, a pen or a pencil. Shikram, fast. It's also a proud moment as a Tamilian, coming and reciting a Tamil poem in Kannada land. Right? So,
One of the color ones?
just anything. Anyone is okay. Cool. Yeah. Wonderful. I hope all of you have got the sheets. Anyone who's not got, just raise your hand so they can come and give it to you. That's okay, sir. It's the same thing. Old people can blank, young people can color. Those of you who don't understand the metaphor in Tamil, color is... My wife has told me not to be naughty on the class today. So. Good. Anyone there? Kishan doesn't have a sheet. Cool. Gautami doesn't have a sheet. Wonderful. So can you please divide the blue part into two equal similar looking parts? Some of you who have been part of my workshop earlier, you might know this. If you know it, just let it go. Divide the blue into two equal similar looking parts. Divide the blue into two equal similar looking parts. Divide the blue into two equal similar looking parts. Sir, you're ulta, you have kept it ulta, sir.
Do they have to
Yeah.
hold it?
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Sabrishan. Wonderful. Anyone done? Oh, super. Wonderful. Is this the answer everyone's got? Awesome. Please divide the green into three equal similar looking parts. Divide the green into three equal similar looking parts. Lisa did not get a sheet? Lisa, just draw it on a paper. Lisa, right? Your name? Yeah, you got it. Last year, sorry. Aha, you were at Excel Public School. Yes. Oh, wonderful. Cool. Don't give the secret away, okay? I can't make my money otherwise. Yeah. Awesome. Done? Wonderful. Is this the answer everyone's got? Brilliant people. Looks like you all passed engineering graphics first attempt, unlike me. Now please divide the red into four equal similar looking parts. Divide the red into four equal similar looking parts. All the four should be equal and similar looking. Divide the red into four equal similar looking parts. Mahesh, I may need one more glass of hot water with whiskey. Done? Sir, these two are right angle triangles, these two are equilateral. I need all the four to be equal and similar looking. Adarsh, these two will be right angle and these two will be equilateral. I need all the four to be equal and similar looking. You don't have a sheet? Okay. Four equal similar looking parts. So, if any of you drawn what's there on the screen, they're wrong. The one on the left, if you see there are two right angle triangles and two equilateral triangles. The one on the right, the inner parts are smaller and the outer parts are bigger. So I need all the four to be equal and similar looking. This is where I take revenge on my engineering graphics teacher. Yeah, aeronauts. 4 equal similar looking parts. This is a small L and this is a big L. So, yeah, I need all the 4 to be similar. Okay, the President, Mr. Sudanwa, has been gracious enough to announce a prize of 1,500 rupees cash prize. Now Gautami is raising her flag. Huh? Nope. You look at it. You're an engineer, madam. You look at it. Those are 2 squares and 2 rectangles. Who's your engineering graphics teacher? Poor guy. Tell him to commit suicide. Okay, I'll give you the answer because we don't have all day. I have only 7 hours to take the class. And the answer is this. 1, 2, 3, and 4 L's. Now please divide the yellow into 7 equal similar looking parts. Divide the yellow into 7 equal similar looking parts. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. The yellow into 7 equal similar looking parts. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Raise your hands, raise your hands, raise your hands up in the air. Both the hands, both the hands, both the hands, both the hands. You're all using deodorants. It's okay. No one will fall down. Come on, come on. Both the hands. Some of you have got the answer, but those of us, keep the hands up. I'm a bad teacher, yeah. Both hands, sir, both hands. Sir, that table near Kishan, sir, both hands. Both hands you have to keep. If I were to ask this question to my nephew who's in grade 5, he would have said, Arey mama, what stupid question you're asking. How do you divide a square into 7 equal parts? Sorry, sir. What a 5th standard student could do, so-called entrepreneurs, some of them did though, so-called entrepreneurs and so-called college students, we were not able to do. You agree? Shame, shame, puppy, shame. The question is, why? Why do you think we were not able to collectively do what a 5th standard student could have done? And this forms the foundation of storytelling and creative thinking and leadership. Yeah, go ahead, tell me why. Sir.
We looked at the previous one, it was pretty complicated, so we thought...
The next one is going to be complicated. Wonderful, okay. Yes, sir. Overthinking, wonderful. Yes, Shankar.
We don't think from first principles.
We don't think from first principles. Wonderful. Contextual. Yes. Yes, sir. Kishan. I'm noting all this recording. I'm going to show to mechanical engineering department for sure. Tell me, Kishan. Why do you think we were not able to do it? And I say we because I was not able to do it first time as well.
Maybe the previous one?
The previous one. Okay. Yes, sir.
We don't carry our knowledge. We leave it when we are done.
Oh, like this is that fancy quote, my university is a treasure trove of knowledge. Everyone walked in it with knowledge, but when they went out, they left it there, kinds. Right? Okay, wonderful. Yes, sir. Conditioning. Wonderful. Yes, sir.
We always think it has to be a difficult problem to solve if you want.
Wonderful. It can't be a simple one. Anything else? That we have to have diversity and inclusiveness, so we should ask the ladies. Yes, ma'am.
Complex thinking.
Complex thinking. Wonderful. So there are 3 lessons that I would take from this simple exercise that our friend Mr. Edward D. Bono devised. And these 3 lessons are kind of the fulcrum of better storytelling and equally the fulcrum of better leadership. Lesson number 1, this debate about complexity versus simple. We've all been, for some odd reason, trained to think that complex equal to great, simple equal to not great. Classical example from recent times, Luna, Chandrayaan 3, right? Absolutely. Simple, easy example, right? Yeah. And I don't know why that came up. I have a debatable reasoning that it's probably our schooling that did it, but there are some school owners here, so I don't want to take that risk. But still, maybe I'll still take the risk. So my dinner is pakka, no, sir? Right, and that's enough. That's what we live for, right? And whiskey as well. Who is the Prime Minister of India? No BJP people here, is it? Because otherwise it would have been Narendra Modi ji would have come. So, okay, Narendra Modi. If it's a 5-mark question in the examination, what would you write, ma'am? About the Prime Minister. Lot about him, right? Let's not go what that lot about is because it becomes politically sensitive. Sir, if it is a 20-mark question, Colonel, what would you write, sir?
Unfortunately, he's not married, so I can't write much.
That is when you can actually write much. Otherwise, you just write, ask the wife. Yes, sir. If it's a 20-mark question, what would you write? You'll write one essay, and then probably if you're good at drawing, you'll also draw his photograph as his Narendra Modi jacket, right? But tell me very honestly, irrespective of whether it's a 1-mark question or a 20-mark question, what is the only single line answer? Narendra Modi. Do you think you and our children would have the courage in a 20-mark examination to just write that and walk away? And that's where we started becoming complex human beings. We thought that complexity is great, simplicity is not great. But time and again, history has proven that it's the people who have been simple themselves, who have simplified life for everyone else, who have ruled this world. One guy with one dhoti decided to get India freedom and he got it. One guy with one line that said, I have a dream, decided to get black Americans freedom and he got it. One guy decided that Pradeep should never walk to the laptop to change the slides, and he built this, and I paid 18,000 rupees the first time I bought this, because he made my life simple. The more you simplify life for others, the more you become a better leader, a better storyteller. Make things simpler. What are we all as entrepreneurs doing? We are all simplifying life for everyone else, right? My company, what am I doing? I am helping the entrepreneur save 100 hours that he or she would have had to sit and make a pitch deck. I am making life simple for him that way, that's all. And then the world will pay you. So go ahead and simplify. Lesson number 2 is what Dr. Mahesh Rao said. Because the earlier one was difficult, so I thought the next one will be even more difficult. We assumed an English word that could also mean making an ass out of you and me. And you know how much I paid to learn this lesson? 70 lakh rupees. My first company and many of the startups that I work with, they fail because they assume the market size. I did not talk to even one customer. I had just come as a greenhorn into Coimbatore. All Mallu boys in Coimbatore have a lot of money. They will all buy race bikes. Let me make race bikes. Very good, Pradeep, brilliant. Told the other person on the mirror. And listening to him, I went to Pune and I invested and got stock from Italy and America. And I started my company, and after 9 months, I sold 0 bikes. Because I assumed there was a market. And time and again, when I see the TAM, SAM, SOM charts in entrepreneurs, I realize how much assumptions are there. Sir, there are 100 crore people in India, 50% of them are women, under 50% of that are under 35. In that, even 1%, sir, not more, sir, 1% enough. If they become my customer, I will become what all cons, I don't know, including sweet corn. As a salesman, I know kitna papad belna padta hai to get your customers, right? Stop assuming. And the third lesson from this simple exercise is the ability to look at things from a 360-degree perspective. Can you please hold the sheets that you have in front of your face in such a way that you can see the drawing? Yeah. Hold it in such a way that you can see the drawing, and now rotate it 90-degree anti-clockwise. Just 90-degree anti-clockwise. You'll have to look at the drawing, sir. You'll have to look at the drawing. Turn it, yeah. I've done it on the screen for you. Oops, where did it go? Here. Oh, okay, I think I switched slides. Yeah. If you look at it, ignore the yellow part, you can see the answer for the third red problem right there in front of you. Can you see the outline? They're dividing the red into 4 equal parts. 99% of times the solutions to our problems are right there in our hands, but because we have been trained to be biased by our past experiences, we tend to overlook them. If one of you had just rotated the paper like this on your table, you would have seen that staring right in front of you. So before you solve problems, look at it from all perspectives. What was true yesterday might not be true tomorrow. What was the right solution yesterday for Chandrayaan 2 will not be the right solution for Chandrayaan 3. You have to look at everything from all the perspectives. As a storyteller, very important, because there is someone here with 20 years of experience sitting, as well as someone there who's not even know what the word entrepreneur means. So as a trainer, I need to look at trying to balance all the 360-degree perspectives. Similarly, for you as entrepreneurs, for us as entrepreneurs, we need to look at everything from a 360-degree perspective. I'll close this part with one anecdote that happened to me, which connects all these 3 lessons. So this was way back in 1995. I was just out of school and joined my engineering college. And to make some pocket money, I decided to do a part-time job in a company that used to sell fax machines. This was in Pune, and I was doing my electronics engineering. So one of our biggest customers was Bajaj Autos, and Bajaj Auto used to buy fax machines by the ton. One day, one of the fax machines at Bajaj Auto conked. Now, big customer giving a billing of 30, 40 lakhs every month, way back then. So, Hemant Farate, the company owner, sent the senior most engineer to solve the problem. He went there, "Arey, last time Chakanwala factory made this same fax machine I had repaired, the motherboard was faulty, let's change the motherboard." So they changed the motherboard, 18,000 rupees fatka to the customer, and lo behold, it didn't work. Now everyone is scratching their head. Senior most engineer with 20 years of experience has not been able to solve it. What do we do? Randomly, Hemant looks at me and says, "Pradeep, tu ja." And I'm wondering, I'm an idiot, I am like 17 years old, I've just out of school. For all practical matters, I don't even know what electronics is. I don't know what a fax machine is in the first place. I didn't tell him that though. And he's saying, "Go and try to solve it." Okay, boss has told you first job, you can't lose it. So I said, "I'll go." So I went there, and this is the first time you're seeing a fax machine in your life. What do you do, Shiva, when you see a fancy gadget for the first time in your life? You play around with it, right? So I was playing around with it, and then I lift the receiver and I keep in my ears, and I can hear "do chai lana." And I'm wondering, this machine doesn't work, but how does the receiver work? How can I hear something? So I kept the receiver there and I went around looking to see how I could hear something. So happens that 4 rooms away from where that fax machine was, there was a parallel connection to this, and some brilliant person like me had lifted the cradle and kept it down. So when someone shouted "do chai lana" there, I could hear it here. All I had to do to solve that problem was to just lift the receiver and keep it back, for which my customer had already paid 18,000 rupees. And we also billed them next time also 16,000 rupees. Why was I, a naive young 17-year-old, able to solve what a 20-year experienced engineer could not solve? Because I went in there with something we call as the beginner's mind. No biases, no prejudices, no experience, no preconceived notions, no assumptions, no complexity. Simple. Maybe if I had gone after 10 years of experience, I also would have done the same things. So to be a great storyteller, to be a great entrepreneur, to be a great leader, we all need to look at everything with a beginner's mind. The Japanese have mastered this art. If you've read Suzuki's writings, he writes about the beginner's mind and the Zen. Wonderful writing, a little complex, but after 5 times you will know, like a Christopher Nolan movie. But the point is, we all come with biases, prejudices. This guy is from that state, he will be like this only. This guy is from that jadi, he will be like this only. This guy is wearing this color dress, he is like that only. This guy is from this religion, he will be like that only. With people we have these biases. With things we have biases. With work we have biases. Yesterday this happened, so tomorrow also this will happen like this only. To be a great storyteller, you have to erase all those things and start afresh every time. And that will help you also become a great leader. So with that as the platform, let me now get into the second part of today's session, which is why stories matter. Mahesh, you'll have to keep me on track with time. Where is Mahesh Katale? Good. What is the time, by the way? 7:05. Wonderful. We're supposed to finish at 7:45, right? Or 8? Oh, I have it till 8. Okay, very good. I'm on time. I think I'll finish on time at 7:45. And to set the context of this section, I thought it might not be justice if I just do a 15-minute or 30-minute talk here and go away. So I've taken the context of a wonderful book that was written in 2005 by Daniel Pink, a book called A Whole New Mind. And in Whole New Mind, Daniel Pink says, the future belongs to a different kind of a person who's a storyteller, a teacher, a right brain thinker. Daniel Pink wrote this in the context of the Americans losing all their left brain jobs to people in India, Vietnam, Philippines, Pakistan, everywhere, right? Anything that could be done by training a person for 2-3 days could be easily outsourced at a fraction of the cost. Some of us are beneficiaries of that as well here, actually. So the Americans were shit scared as to what will happen to our jobs if everything goes to all these third world countries. And that's when Daniel Pink wrote that in the future, if America has to lead the world, we have to start becoming right brain thinkers. Because you can copy A.R. Rahman's music sheet, but you can't copy A.R. Rahman's scoring. Right brain can never be copied, it can never be outsourced. The irony is that what was true for the Americans in 2005 to 8 is now true for all of us. Because everything that you can do with your left brain AI and ML will do. So it is all the more critical as a leader that you and I become right-brainers as well. We all start looking at things with empathy. We all learn the art of storytelling, because going forward, it's all about people, 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 that's all. Everything else, the machines will do it. You don't have to worry about it. So with that context, I want to ask a very simple question. Sir, what's your name? Yep. Lavitra. Yes. Sir, Lasia's brother or something? No, okay. Why do we need stories? You've come into a TiE meeting, which is supposed to be business and entrepreneurs. What are these guys talking about stories? What is this? It's like kindergarten or what, right? Correct? You're thinking of that one, you know? But that question is there, right? Why do we need stories? So, can I ask, sir, why do we need stories, sir?
People love stories.
People love stories. I love Kamala. Sir, why do we need? Huh?
Maybe it's better for the listener to understand.
Better for the listeners to understand. Okay. How many of you know what's the theory of relativity? Or at least have heard of it? Who's from Palakkad in Kerala, and Mohan is working on the theory of relativity. And there's something in the theory of relativity that's very strongly connected to storytelling. I'll tell you that. But before that, I wanted to share something that happened exactly a year ago to Mohan. I think tomorrow, day after tomorrow is Onam, right? So last year, Mohan bought a Kerala state lottery for the Onam lottery, which is 1 crore. And Mohan won the lottery. Sir, you earn money without doing any hard work. What do you do with it, sir? Ah, good. So you freak out, right? You do all the things that you have ever dreamed for. Mohan wanted to go to Las Vegas since his childhood because he was fancied with all these James Bond movies. So Mohan took a ticket, went to Las Vegas, checked into a hotel, was playing casino, playing Russian roulette in a casino. You've seen that round thing, it goes and you put on dice. And he had already earned 2 lakh rupees. Okay? And there's this beautiful girl who comes to him and tells him, sir, you look very interesting. Can I buy you a drink? You have 1 crore in your pocket plus 2 lakhs that you have earned easily. What do you do? Buy a drink. No, she's giving you a drink. You accept it, right? If you're a true Indian, you accept it, right? 1 crore, 2 lakhs in the pocket, still you accept it because it's coming free. So Mohan took the drink. 1 led to 2, 2 led to 3, 3 to 4. And the next Mohan knows he's lying in a pool of blood in a bathtub in an old godown. A lot of pain and his whole body is shaking. And he's wondering what happened. I was having so much fun and where am I? So he picks up the phone and calls. Lasya, where does he call? We all see Netflix, no? So we know what is 900. We don't know 100, but 102 also. So he calls up 911 and tells the lady, ma'am, I'm Mohan and I've come from India and from Palakkad. And this was happening and I don't know what's happened to me. I'm lying in this old godown with a lot of blood around me. I'm a little scared. She says, sir, don't worry. Can you please put your hands behind your back and tell me, what do you feel? So he puts his hands behind the back and he says, ma'am, I think there's some kind of a rubber tube. She says, I'm sorry, sir. Your kidney has been heisted. It's been happening recently to people from poor countries because we have a large donor requirement but a smaller list of donors. So there's a gang that's doing all this. But don't worry, it's not a fatal thing. We will save you. So they sent an ambulance. They saved him. Treated him for 3 months, and now he's back to Palakkad with a promise never to ever. Never to ever take a free drink, sir. Okay. See, even then, where is your daughter? See, daddy, not going to Las Vegas, but free drink he'll still take. But the point, reason I wanted to talk to you about Mohan was because of the work that he's doing on the theory of relativity. Those of you youngsters who don't know what theory of relativity is, if you see one Vella color Tata with white hair in Oppenheimer movie, that Tata only gave the theory of relativity. What he said is that the theory of relativity usually encompasses 2 interrelated theories. It introduced the concepts including 4-dimensional space-time as a unified entity of space and time, relativity of simultaneity, kinematic and gravitational time dilation, and length contraction. In the field of physics, relativity improved the science of elementary particles and their fundamental interactions, along with ushering in the nuclear age.
Now it answers why we need a story.
Adarsh, tell me the theory of relativity.
I don't want to. I don't think I can.
Tell me what happened to my friend Mohan.
Kidney went.
Kidney went. Anything else that you can remember?
Many things. Many things.
Many things. So how is it that Adarsh is able to remember something that I said 5 minutes ago, but he's not able to remember something I just said? Is the reason, my dear friends, why we need stories, because stories make things stick to people's minds much after you have left them. Stories connect to people on an emotional level, on a human level, and they remember them for long. So when Mr. Sudhanva sits on an investment panel, he's not going to write a check like you see in the TV serial. That doesn't happen in real life. What really happens is he has to go back home. While driving home, he will remember, there was this young boy who had something interesting. I think it's a fundamental idea, I should call him. You want people to remember what you said, and that is why you need stories. Each of us remembers the apple falling down on Newton. We may not remember 9.8 meters per second square. That is the power of stories. So to regain that power, and I use the word regain because it's there in all of us. We did one mistake. We went to school. Sir, except Excel school, sir. Okay, no, I have to make my dinner pakka, otherwise I don't get dinner, right? As my friend Mr. Bezos said, right, you may have the greatest product, you may have the greatest service, but if the storytelling isn't amazing, then it's almost equal to naught. And that's the power of storytelling. Most brands, most prime ministers, most leaders have been built by the stories around them. No one knows whether there was a real chai dukan and chai wala, but we all know that he became a prime minister, and we all remember the chai wala becoming the prime minister. There are so many debates about that, right? But it's those stories that create those narratives, and they create those auras and those personas. So let's understand what exactly is a story. Sir, what is the difference between the theory of relativity and Mohan's story? There was one very stark difference in both those things. What do you think?
Mohan's story, I think, it talks about it gives a realistic perspective, what happened to a real person. Theory of relativity is a postulate.
Right, a postulate. So, can I say that the storyteller's secret is understanding that at the end of the day, your audience is not an investor, your audience is not an electronics engineer, your audience is not a businessman, but the audience is a human being. Mohan's story, humanized. Theory of relativity, abstract. So the secret of every storyteller is they always humanize their stories. No one talked about Narendra Modi being a great leader, being a great hard worker. No, they made one chai wala out of him. That is the story that people like Adarsh built for Mr. Modi, and many of us as well. Adarsh, I'm doing some publicity for your company. Huh? That Adarsh, not this Adarsh. He's into advertising and digital marketing, right? They built a story around him. And that story is what stuck to people's mind. And that is what was their humanized element for Mr. Modi. Or whoever. Whether it was Barack Obama, a poor immigrant son. No one talked about his law degrees and all that blah, 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 blah. They were talking about his background as an immigrant son, father and mother from somewhere else. And then, if I can dream in America, you can also dream. One Tamilian is now trying to do that as well, Mr. Ramasamy. Wonderful. So now let's understand what are the components of a good story so that each one of us can become better storytellers. Number one, stories take something that's very complex and make it very simple. And I'm glad Lycia pointed out the fact that that movie was A-rated, right? So there is something called as a Flesch-Kincaid readability test for people to decide whether this book can be read by Lycia or someone in a senior grade. Right? How you have for the movies A grade and 12th grade and PG and parental guidance and all that stuff. For reading also there is something that's called as the Flesch-Kincaid test. They did the test on all of Steve Jobs' speech. You know what was the rating? 6th grade. Everything my friend Steve ever spoke was at the level of a 6th grader. He never spoke anything that was beyond the level of a 6th grader's comprehension. Because he understood the power of simplifying and simplicity. I don't know how many of you were around when he launched the iPod way back in 2003. He did not tell that it had 8 gigs of memory. He did not tell that it had 9 gigs of storage. He did not tell that it had an aluminum body that could withstand 1942 degrees of heat. He did not say that it could withstand water under a depth of 642 meters. But he said, ladies and gentlemen, today I bring to you a device that will help you carry 1,000 songs in your pocket. And people like me and probably the gentleman here, you know what our reaction would have been? Hey macha, what are you talking about? 1,000 songs in the pocket. Because to me, for a playlist of 250 songs, I had to carry like 50 cassettes in my car. Now here comes a guy who says, 1,000 songs in your pocket. Did I care whether it stood 650 degrees meters or 100 meters? Did I care whether it had 1000 megahertz or gigahertz, or did it have a bus speed of 2400 megahertz? I didn't care about that. All I cared is, what will it do for me? Simplify. Number 2. Oops. Mahesh, someone is doing something, Mahesh, to end the class fast. We have done that in class. We have changed the professor's slides and removed like 20 slides so the class gets over fast. We've done that, so I think it's coming back to me in my life. Yeah, okay, wonderful. Cool. Stories take something that's abstract and convert them into concrete. What is abstract and what is concrete? Go to me. Oh, no, this is not that abstract. That your college student is not letting go of you, that abstract of the project title. No. Abstract as in abstractness. I'm sorry? Hidden, okay. Ma'am? I don't know. Okay. Anyone else? Sir?
No visualization.
No visualization. Wonderful. Let me explain this to you in an easier way so all of us understand. Every box of popcorn that you eat in the cinema theater during the break, the big mega tub that you have, has 3.5 milligrams of trans fat, which is very, very bad for your heart. 3.5 milligrams of trans fat. So next time you go to the theater, what will happen, sir? He will say, Pradeep, get lost. Tamilian telling us not to eat popcorn. I will eat 2 boxes. I'm trying to stoke some controversy here and it's not getting stoked. What if I tell you that the amount of bad oil in a box of popcorn is equal to the amount of oil, bad oil, in 6 samosas, half a kilo chili chicken, 4 servings of French fries, and 1 kilo of jalebi. The amount of bad oil in all this is equal to the amount of bad oil in 1 box of popcorn. Now tell me what will happen when you go to the theater next time. You will remember the samosa and the chili chicken, and still you want to enjoy life and you will buy popcorn. But this time you will take a pause because you are able to see all those things. What did I do? I took an abstract concept called 3.5 milligrams of trans fat, which, like Shankar said, you can't see, you can't visualize, and I gave you a visual for it, which was nothing but concreteness. We as human beings, this kidney that we have on our head over the last 2 million years has evolved as a muscle that only understands concreteness. It doesn't understand abstractness. And in the last 300 years, we have tried to make it into a muscle that understands abstractness. It doesn't see D-O-G. When I say dog, it sees one kutta that is running on the street. Letters, alphabets, numbers are abstract concepts. The more you make them concrete, the more people will remember. And you know where they have used this for time immemorial? Religion. If you look at Islam, if you look at Christianity, if you look at Hinduism or Buddhism, everything points towards one supreme power which controls the world. Now you are going from here to Tumkur, and on the road you find one farmer who is illiterate and tell him, Macha, there is one supreme power which is controlling the world. We call it God. Sir, show me where it is. I can't. Tell me how it looks like. I can't. Can I see it? I can't. Can I touch it? I can't. Sir, you are one mental, sir. Right? Because if he can't see it, if he can't feel it, he can't believe it. And that's why we created Muhammad the messenger, and we created Jesus the son of God, and we created Murugan and Vinayagar and idols and all those things, so that normal human beings like us, we can get a concrete form to a message that basically means that there is something which is very abstract, which is what we call as God. The more you talk in concreteness, the more people will understand what you're saying. I'll give you one example so you understand this. This was a customer that we worked with in Bangalore somewhere in 2016. And they were creating a device that could help boats communicate with one another. Okay, somewhere in 2016 or 17. Oops, what happened? Yeah. They went to some 40 investors, and none of the investors were able to understand what these guys were doing. Because the first slide was about us, second slide, we are engineers, blah, 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 technology, we have done so much, this tower, that tower, this tower. So once we spoke to them, we realized that what was missing was the human element. So we created a character called Ayyappan and said Ayyappan is a fisherman in Kollam and he has 10 boats. So the first element of concreteness is for the investors to understand that an average fisherman doesn't have one boat, it typically is the owner of 10 boats. You and I, if we are not in the fishing industry, we will never think that a fisherman owner will have 10 boats. Now second comes the question. So this answers the other question, which is why should they communicate? If I have only one boat, I don't need communication at all, right? Now you are thinking, okay, if there are 10 boats, they need to have communication. And they are not able to digest it because that was the year when we had sent rover to Mars and we were communicating with something in Mars. But God, Macha, you are telling me that I can't communicate with a boat that's just like 10 kilometers away? And that was the fact. Though many of us assume that these technologies would have been already there, they are not available because no one bothered to solve them. So when there is one Macha standing there and fishing and there's a big school of fish, he is not able to tell the other Machan that, hey, there's a lot of fish here, come. Which is the second context for the investor, that when boats go out into the sea, they don't go to the same place. One guy goes here, one guy goes there, one guy goes there. So you are now bringing in empathy to the investor who has never been in fishing to understand that they all go at different places. So there's a dire need for them if they need to do arbitrage or if they need to get a bigger school of fish, that they all need to communicate with one another. The other simple aspects of safety, or the wife telling that I have delivered a baby or whatever, those are secondary. But the primary is, one, I find a big school of fish, come, all of us, let's do it. Second, when I go out to Kollam and the price of mackerel fish is higher in Trivandrum, I leverage the power of arbitrage and I go there and I get more profits. Today it was not happening because there was no communication. So we created this character called Ayyappan and said that when Ayyappan is in the sea, this is how he is. The moment you see this, what happens? Why? Right? That's the question that comes to you. The moment your audience is asked why or asked a question, the audience is in your hand. Now you have a segue to take the narrative to talk about people like Ayyappan having 10 boats and they going here and there. But if you start off with about me and about my company and my technology, there is no segue to talk about the human element. They went to the fourth investor and they raised 42 crores out of this one deck. Right? Power of stories. Stories take facts and convert them into emotions. Why? Because although we think as human beings, we think with our brain, we think only with our heart, which my friend Dan Ariely has brilliantly written in Predictably Irrational. That we don't take logical decisions, we don't take rational decisions because we always do things by the heart. Did you know that 65,700 Indian women die every year of cervical cancer, the only cancer that has a vaccine? A vaccine is that's just 1,200 rupees worth. Every year, 65,700 Indian women die of a disease which has a vaccine and which is the easiest cancer to detect. Did you feel bad knowing this number? Yeah, it's a true number, unlike Mohan's story. But did you feel so bad that you want to stop your aerospace business and go and start doing biotech to save those women? Maybe, maybe not. What if I told you that every 8 minutes, one Indian woman dies of cervical cancer? From the time I started this lecture to I finished this masterclass, 10 Indian women would have died of cervical cancer, the only cancer that has a vaccine. Now tell me, did you feel a little more bad? You know why? Because the moment I said one Indian woman, you know what happened? Some woman that you know came into your mind. Your neighbor, your daughter, your friend's daughter, your wife, your colleague, someone. And when you know that someone, how's the bonding? Emotional. So your emotions got triggered and you started feeling bad. When I said 65,700, I can't see them. No emotions. There's no connect. But if you're good at mathematics, you will know that 60 divided by 8 multiplied by 24 multiplied by 365 is equal to 65,700. The same number. But when you put emotions into the same number, it starts making you act. Which is what Mother Teresa famously said, show me the mass and I shall do nothing, but show me the one and I will act. So Mother Teresa's charities, they never ask for food or money for 10,000 children who are hungry. They show one poor boy called Pradeep from Coimbatore who for the last 20 days has not had a morsel of food. Can you help him? And when they do this, the chances that 90% of you will give 10 rupees for Pradeep is much higher than when they ask for 10,000 children. Because when they ask for 10,000, you become overwhelmed. What can I do for 10,000? What will 10 rupees do for them? Okay, leave it, machan. So when you want people to act, trigger their emotions. And that is where the biggest understanding comes, that the other guy is not a CEO, the other guy is not a CFO, the other guy is not an investor. He's a human being and he will react to emotions. Many people forget this the moment they do an MBA or they become an entrepreneur. They think that I have to talk only in business terms. But that guy is a human being. He is going to behave like a human being. Oops. Stories take consistency and help bring in contrast. Let's find someone here. Sir, what's your name, sir? Vikram. Who's your favorite heroine?
Another Amras.
Huh?
She's a Bollywood heroine.
Heroine, okay, I don't know those names. Okay. Another M? What?
Anna de Amras.
Anna de Amras. That sounds like, paper boat Amras kinds. But anyway, so Anna. Okay, so Vikram, Anna. So you go to watch a movie, Vikram. Anna is the heroine. Okay. Anna wakes up, has breakfast, goes to college, comes back. Has breakfast, goes to college, comes back. Wakes up, goes to college, comes back. Has breakfast, goes to college, comes back. 3 hours, Vikram. Same scene repeating. Will you watch the movie? How much ever you love Anna, you will not watch the movie, right? Okay. So now, sir, what's your name, sir?
Ravi Shankar.
Mr. Ravi Shankar says, Pradeep, you don't... Huh?
Be careful with me, I'm Lasia's father.
Lasia, we'll talk secretly, okay?
Yeah.
So Ravi Shankar says that, boss Pradeep, you don't know how to take a movie, I will make a movie. So you get Anna, okay? Anna wakes up, breakfast, goes to college, comes back. Wakes up, goes to college, does not come back. What happens to you, Vikram? What happened to my Amras? Right? That's when the movie becomes thrilling, right? Because the human mind doesn't like consistency, it always likes contrast. Take any goddamn book or movie in the world. If you're an engineer, you draw a graph, it will either be like a square wave or a sine wave. If it's a Rajnikant movie, then there's a lot of sine waves, right? Because we don't like consistency. Everything was normal. Anna was going to college, she was leading a happy life, and then suddenly Pradeep came into the life. Villain has come. Now Vikram is coming and fighting the villain, and then they fought, and then truth of victory over good over bad, and then they lived happily ever after. Take any book, any story, it will always be this graph. The graph, number of squares in the graph may vary, but it will always be this. Because the human being gets excited with the unexpected. Stories take knowledge and make them into meaning. What is the meaning of meaning? What is the meaning of the word meaning? Sir? Understand, okay? Anything else? Yes, sir? Huh? Which gives value to someone. Wonderful. What's your name? Rahul. Okay. So Rahul, this is the, I like what you answered, Rahul. It's actually a very correct answer. So Rahul, this is the bar graph of all the blood pressure measurements because sir, you are here, so I have to make you my guinea pig, sir. Okay. In his company, we take blood pressure, and the measurements are put as the graph. All the employees are now excited. Let's see what the boss is going to do, right? Yes. What will Mr. Sudanwa do after seeing this graph? Or can he do something? With this exact graph, what will you analyze? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Now, tell me what will happen to him. He will say, oh my God, why is it that there are so many people with high blood pressure in my company? Right? Because you are my scapegoat. So is Shankar harassing them? Is the workplace wrong? Or there's too much pressure on them? Why? Is it because he's a very selfless person and he likes everyone? I'm sorry for this example, but I'm sure you will appreciate when I come to the end. No, he's a businessman. He understands that more people with high blood pressure equal to more people with health problems equal to more health insurance equal to more money going out of the company equal to lesser profit for the company. Productivity law, obviously, absolutely, right. What did I do? I took knowledge and converted into meaning, which is nothing but the English word or the English phrase, what is in it for me? Isme mera kya hai? Idle yanakki enna? For a CEO, all that matters is to understand that there are so many people with high blood pressure. Boss, please get it down so that your company is safer and your profits are safer as well. I have realized late in my life that income minus expenses equal to profits. Oh, sorry, income minus, expenses equal to profits. So the easiest way to increase profits is to reduce expenses actually. That's the easiest way. You don't even have to have customers. You can increase your profit just by reducing expenses. Stories take knowledge, going to Las Vegas, and convert into meaning, saying that, boss, when you go there and someone offers you a free drink, don't take it. I'm sure all of us would have got this WhatsApp message sometime in recent times that today at 12:15, don't go into Oyster Hotel in Mysuru. The sun's rays are going to be very harsh because there's a hole in the ozone and you might get cancer, says NASA. Right? I'm sure some form of this message, all of us would have got it. Although we tend to not believe them, many of us tend to believe them also. You know why? Because NASA said no. You believed Mohan's story because Pradeep said, my friend Mohan. And then I went into detail, Kerala, Palakkad, Onam, lottery, 1 crore, Las Vegas, and not even just Las Vegas, Russian roulette. The more you give details, the more credibility increases. Stories build in detail so that credibility increases in what they say. We really never know whether Newton actually sat below the tree. Right? No one knows. But the tree is still there, right? It's there in Germany. That's what they say. Stories also bring in the unexpected. Because unexpected are the things that grab people's attention. Today something happened that grabbed all your attention. What? One idiot came from Coimbatore and stood on the chair. What happened? In your mind you were thinking, who is this joker? Who called him as chief guest? Get him down, get him down. But what happened? Where was the attention? Everyone's attention was on me. After that, it's my job to keep the attention. So when you do the unexpected, you grab attention. I want to give you one case study for this before I close this section. This is a customer of ours called Kimba Williams. She's from Florida. She's in fact part of the TiE Women Pitch competition last year. Kimba creates products for women's hygiene. And she wanted to go and meet a group of investors who are all men in their 60s and late 70s and tell them that most of the products available today lead to breast cancer. Okay? A lot of men in the room. Sir, what does breast cancer do to a woman? How does it destroy her? The same look would have been there for the investors as well when she told them this. Because we have no clue. We know it's a cancer for the breast, but what does it do? I don't know. So Kimba said, Pradeep, that will not work. Can we do something so that they realize the damage that breast cancer does to them? Because if they don't empathize with it, they will never invest in my company because they don't care about it. So if she wanted to do something unexpected, so we said, instead of putting up with a slide that says numbers and data and blah, 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 let's do this. The moment we put this, those men were on the edge of their seats. Oh my God, is this how breast cancer damages a woman? What if my wife had this? Oh my God, can I do something about it? Can I write a check for you? She wanted to raise $1.6 million. She ended up raising $2.8 million. Why? Nope, her achievement, not mine. Why? Because she was able to bring in the unexpected and make them empathize with something they could never have understood. You can do all empathy putting yourself in someone else's shoes, but you can't know what a woman goes through when she has breast cancer. Trying to do the unexpected sometimes works. So with that, I would like to give you now a corollary to this of how you use it there. But for that, I need something to happen. Please stand up. Mahesh, how much time do you have? Huh? Okay. A lot of time. Good, please stand up, stand up. Wherever you're standing, please do a 360-degree rotation and look at everything around you. Observe everything, the people, the chair, the tables, the wall, everything. Just observe everything. Along with that, if you say, Veluguntlavada, Govinda, Govinda, you'll get some blessings also. Wonderful. Now can you please stand up on the chair? Yeah. Yeah, yes, sir. I said the chair. Yes, yes. See. Last year's father is the first one to go there. Go ahead, remove your shoes and stand. It's okay. Next time I'm making sure they're not going to entertain you here in this hotel. Now please do the same thing. Yes, ma'am, you too. Oops. Wonderful. Yep. Go ahead, do the 360D and observe everything. Wonderful. Please get down. Don't sit. Please, guys, get down. Don't sit. Careful. Yeah. Was everything little different when you stood up and stood down? How, sir? Same room, same people, same chair, everything. How, sir? Oh, you were more conscious of not falling, okay. The 1.5 feet physical, please sit down. The 1.5 feet physical difference was able to change everything around you. Now imagine if you can do that 1.5 feet here in your kidney, how the world will change. To change the world, you don't need to break your head trying to change them. Change the way you look at them and the world will change. The most difficult thing, we can't change other people, we can change the way we look at the world. And what I am trying to do in the next 30 odd minutes or in the past 30 odd minutes is to give you a different perspective of looking at the world. Can I stop being a numbers guy and can I start becoming an emotional person or use emotions as a power? The moment you bring that change here, everything will change. You don't have to struggle to change the world. It can change just by doing this. So now what I will do is, going forward from here, I'm going to give you some tactical things as a good teacher, some framework so that you can start implementing whatever I said so far. Okay? Number one, how do you use storytelling in your presentation? So I'll give you one very simple formula and then I'll give you one very complex formula, which is more easier actually. So the simple formula is that you always throw a challenge and grab attention. Did you know that 65,700 Indian women die every year of cervical cancer? Do you know that I can send a rover to Mars and communicate it like I would communicate with Airtel mobile phone? Right? Now there's a challenge. The moment you put a challenge, what happens? People are on their tenterhooks. They want to react. They want to debate. They want to say, no, it will not happen. So you grab attention. Then what do? You build a narrative around the hero, villain and the heroine, right? A story around the struggle. So many people do not have access to interns. So I am creating a hero called Sapienchery. And Sapienchery is the hero that will solve internship problems for so many people. So there's a narrative around the struggle. And once the narrative is done, what do you want people to do? You want them to act. So how do you make them act? By giving a call to action. Sir, I am alone in my journey trying to give internship to so many people. Can you also join me on the journey? Simple structure. I've simplified it very, very, very much. But broadly, if you look at any presentation, this is how it will be. Ayyappan has a problem. Problem is nothing. Communication is the villain. The hero is the telecommunications that I have built. The telecommunication has solved it. Ayyappan live happily ever after. There are millions of Ayyappans in India. I can solve one Ayyappan's problem, but to solve 100 Ayyappan's problem, I need money. Give me money, let's do it. Any presentation, if you can put it into these three buckets, you've done your job. You've done your job. Which brings us to an important question as to what is the attitude I should have as a storyteller. Number one and most important one is empathy. The ability to look at the world from their perspective. In my business, we also call this the curse of knowledge. Because I know technology, I keep talking jargon, but the poor investor, he's made money selling jalebis. He doesn't understand what tech stack means. He doesn't understand what multi-domain is. He doesn't understand what metaverse is. And you are going on because that's what you know. Put yourself in their shoes and look at the world from their perspective. Number one. Can I have one more glass of hot water, please? Thanks. It's not hot. Number two, symphony. These are 6 attributes that, in fact, Daniel Pink has also spoken in his book. So maybe if you can buy the book and read it, it will be good. What symphony basically means is always starting off from the big picture and not from the small picture. Like the Ayyappan story. They were always in the small picture about us, our technology. We have put so many towers here, we have put down that. The investor is like, where is this heading to? Right? 1 kilo upma, 1 kilo rava, half a kilo dal, little salt, little pepper, little kadi pata, sir, little chili, little coconut oil. Yes, sir, where am I headed to? Huh? Half a kilo sugar. Now, right? So when you are going into the ingredients without telling what you are cooking, the audience is now confused, where is this headed to? But what if I start saying that I am going to talk to you about a very new dish which is a tangy and a sweet kind of a upma, which is salt and sweet. Then now you know what is the end outcome. So always when you speak to your people, whether it's your colleagues, start off from the big picture, show them the big vision, and then break it down into the micros. If I show you a drawing, let's say this drawing here, okay? I show you this drawing, I cut it into small pieces and give it to you and tell you to solve the puzzle. Photographer, take photo, macha, nice pose, come. Okay. Scenario A. Scenario B. I don't show you the photograph, I cut it into pieces and I give you to solve it. Which scenario do you think you will solve it faster? First one, right? Because you've seen the big picture. You know what connects what and where it is all leading to. Time and again I see entrepreneurs going into the micros and the details without talking about the big picture of what you do. The first slide I always recommend to people is a slide that gives the value proposition, which is nothing but what is it that you're doing to make the world a better place in a very simple way. Yes, absolutely. Always start off with the big picture. The word symphony is basically used in the context of, let's say, for example, A.R. Rahman comes to the stage. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have 2 tablas, 1 violin, 4 guitars, 6 pianos, 7 mridangams doing a song for you. Macha, what song is he going to do? And he says, I have composed a beautiful song called Roja, Roja from the movie Roja. And in that song, da 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 da. Now the audience know what they can expect. That's why the word symphony. When you hear a symphony, do you hear those 100 instruments? You hear one single piece of music. A good storyteller is someone who brings in symphony by bringing in the big picture first and then going deep. How do you become better at storytelling? Number one, you observe life. We all see, we don't observe. Can all of you look up on the roof? And those of you who are wearing a watch, tell me on your watch, is the dial numbers, digits, Roman numerals or dashes and dots? Now go ahead and look at your watch. And those of you who have a digital watch, okay. I am sure 50% of us would have got it wrong. We see it, but we rarely observe. So observe life. How do people behave? How does your boss behave? How does your colleague behave? When you go to the hotel and ask the guy, or when you say, Vicky, can you put the slides on? Many of you are wondering, how does this guy know Vicky? And Vicky will do work better because I am calling him for the first time by name, whereas everyone is, hey boy, do it. Right? Observe those things and see if you can implement them. Number two, gain experiences. Any kind of experience. Today, whatever I am, I think I can credit it to all the part-time jobs I did during the 8 semesters of college. I worked as a hotel waiter, I worked as an auto rickshaw driver, I worked as a telewala selling apples. What I learned about customer service there, I did not learn at IIM Ahmedabad. Gain experiences, because experiences will help your mind find the connection between the dots when those dots come in front of you. When you don't have experiences, then you will be struggling to connect the dots, and great storytellers do nothing but they just connect the dots. So try to get as many experiences as possible. I'm sure many of us who are in the later stage of our lives, we may not be able to do that. My message is for you to go and do it for your next generation. Let your daughter go and work in a hotel as a waiter and let her know what a struggle it is to work there. Then next time when she asks for pocket money, she will think twice. And then she will also become a better storyteller. My story of the Toshiba, right? Such an amazing example that connects all those 3 things. If I had not done that part-time job, I would not have had that story. And it's a real story as well. And the third most important thing is the power of language. When I use the power of language, I don't mean being great at vocabulary, but I mean something that we learn from a small video. Okay? It is obvious I am blind, I can't see. There's no empathy. But the moment he says it's a beautiful day, you can see it, but I can't see it. He didn't have to say you can see it. He's making people feel bad that they can see it, but he can't see it. And that's why people start doing it. I was talking to Gautami today in the afternoon. First slide, the problem. Macha, I can see it is the problem slide. Why are you wasting your time? Tell me that 2,000 Indians do not have access to drinking water in one small village. That is a statement. It's like a Twitter heading. So in PowerPoint, we always recommend people to have a Twitter-like heading, which if I don't see any of the rest of the slide and I just see the heading, I still should know what your narrative is. Do not state the obvious. Use language by 1, making it as simple as possible, 2, making it as relatable as possible to the other person. That's what I mean by language in storytelling. You don't have to have a great vocabulary. You need to keep it simple. You need to give katrika and urlakalanga examples and potato examples and not talk about chipsets and memory processor. No one cares about it, right? So now let's connect this to leadership. What do I, as a leader, want? I want my employees to take notice, right? They have to give their attention to me. Like I'm like the CEO of a 5,000 employee company. What do I want? I want them all to take notice. Once they take notice, what do I want? I want them to understand my vision for the company. Why is this guy always telling we have to come at 8 o'clock and go back at 7 o'clock? Why does the company have to do 1,200 crores this year? Why can't we only do 1,100 crores? Right? I want them to understand what I'm saying. Then what do I want? I want them to feel inspired. Arey, boss ne bola hai, apne ko bhi karna hai. I want them to be inspired. But just inspiration alone is not going to help. So what do I want? I want them to care about it. Macha, if 1,200 crores this year we don't do, it is like Sachin Tendulkar getting duck out. I have to care about the vision of my boss or my owner or you as a leader, your employees have to care about it. Why? Because only when they care will they act. Unless until they care about it. Why should my boss let him make 1,200 crores? What is in it for me? I don't care a damn about it. My samblam will come anyway. Most people don't work for samblams. They work because they care. And that is what neo HR managers don't understand. They try to give increments and they try to give bags and some bottles and fancy stuff and holidays. They think people will do it. They don't. People want a vision. They want a bigger thing than themselves to achieve it because they want to feel like the hero. So as a leader, I want all these things to happen. And when does this happen? When I eliminate complexity. What is eliminating complexity? Making sure that if there are 100 employees, the most, for want of another word, I'm using unintelligent employee should understand what I'm telling. Maybe illiterate is a different word for that as well. So if this is what a leader wants, now how do I combine whatever we learned about storytelling for a leader and for me to evoke scaling up in my company? So as a leader, I want people to notice. As a storyteller, I want people to pay attention. When Pradeep comes, he stands on the chair because he wants 100 people who are sitting in a room, notifying their phone or looking here and there to pay attention. Once you pay attention, what do I do to get attention? What do I do to get attention? I do the unexpected, right? So in my pitch, instead of putting one deck about saying the short wave communication for fishermen in Kannur, I put one Ayyappan with his mouth stuck. I do the unexpected. Then what do I do on? I want people to understand and remember. How will people understand and remember? When you make it concrete. Once it's understood, remembered, what do you want next? I want them to feel inspired. I want them to agree with it. I want them to believe it. Yes, I think this is a big problem. It should be solved. Yes, we need to fund this company. How do you make them agree and believe? By bringing in credibility. Sir, I have given this communication devices to 10 people like Ayyappan, and they've all come back saying that it's a great technology and they should use it. Build in credibility. Once credibility is built, what do? I want them to care about it. I want them to find meaning. What does the investor find meaning in? Sir, this is such an amazing technology and no one else in the world has done this. I have the IP for it. We can just invest 10 crores in it and make it into 100 crores in 5 years. That's what he cares about, right? As an investor, what does he care about? He cares about when will he get his return and how much will he get his return. That's all, right? The problem is just incidental. The problem and the solution are just incidental ways for him to make excess out of his winning. How do you do it? By bringing in emotions. For the investor, it is the paisa wala emotion. 10x, 100x is the emotion that he wants, right? Then what do you want them to do? You want them to act. You want them to do. How do you make people do? By building the whole thing into a story. So if I were an engineer, which my professors are not sure, although I got the degree after 6 years, I put all of these things together and make sure that everyone in the hall relates to it. What do? I uncomplicate it. How do I uncomplicate it? By making it simple. Now let's use some of our engineering brain and put all of these things together. Notice, pay attention, unexpected, blah, 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 blah. I remove off everything that's in black. I'm left with this. I remove off everything apart from the first letter. I have this. Lasya, what can you see? Next time you want to remember how to be a storyteller, how to deliver a keynote address where you tell it in the form of a story, remember SUCCES. It's an amazingly simple framework. Draw a 3 by 3 grid in your paper. Write S for simple, U for unexpected, C for credible, C for concrete, E for emotional, S for story. Let's say you're giving a speech in a college. Start ticking or giving marks for it. Is there something unexpected that I'm going to talk about that they've never heard? Steve Jobs' graduation speech, he spoke about him being adopted by parents when his mother was an unmarried mother. Right? No one knew about that till that point of time. Something unexpected. Credible. Today I spoke to you about my failures. What did I do? I showed you my vulnerability. For many of you, you felt, okay, this is a guy I can relate to. I want to listen to him. He's not some big shot who's achieved success or whatever. I'm a failure. That's okay. And from those, I'm going to teach you. Start ticking or giving yourself marks for those 6 elements. Sometimes you will get full marks for all the elements. Sometimes you'll get half marks. But even if you're reaching 2 out of 6 of them, you are on your way to become a storyteller. Very simple formula, which again, to bring you credibility, I didn't give. It was given by these guys called Chip Heath and Dan Heath, who wrote a wonderful book called Made to Stick. Why is it that Mohan's story sticks to people's mind and theory of relativity doesn't stick? Because Mohan's story has all these components. It is simple. There is an unexpected element. Some of you wanted Mohan and her to get married and then they happily live ever after, and Bobby and she doing duet and all that stuff. Unexpected happened. Credible, because Pradeep's friend. Concrete, you could visualize Mohan. For you, Mohan was black, white, tall, dark, lungi, whatever. Something you could see. There was an emotional thing. The moment I said kidney gone, you should have seen Mr. Sabri said, "Ayyo macha, Mohan kidney gone." Like it's it's his own brother, because Mohan is Pradeep's friend and he has an emotional connect with Pradeep. And how was it? In the form of a story. So the more you start doing this, the more you become a storyteller. Let me close 10 minutes before time. Yep, 8 o'clock if my time is, then I think I'm 10 minutes on time, right? On time. Yes, ma'am. So, once again, I have not finished, sir. Sir, stand ovation afterwards, sir. And the standing ovation, you have to do video, okay? I have a piece of wood. I let go of it. What will happen? It will fall down, right? How boring answer, okay? I'll change the question now. I have a piece of wood. I let go of it. What all can happen? It may fall down. It can destroy something. Yes, sir. It could hurt him also, okay? It can break. Huh? Like Nityananda Swami, okay? Give your pains, you will become light. Yeah. Anything else? Be careful about your... That time you threatened me, I am Lasya's father. Now I am threatened, feeling more threatened. Be careful about your throw. Ravi, yeah. Anything else? What all can happen? Yes, sir. Becomes lighter, okay. Anything else? I'm sorry, sir? It will just stay there. Very good. Okay. It can break something. Very good. Break a heart probably. So there was this kid in a corporation school when I did the same session and a question. He says, "Uncle, niche na there will be 8 ants, 4 will die." Okay. And there's this other brilliant kid who says, "Sir, there will be hole. From the hole, oil will come. We'll all become rich." Right? The point is this. When I asked you the first question, it was a boring answer. It will fall down. What did I ask? What can happen? The moment I rephrased the question to saying what all can happen, you saw that there was more energy in the room. Stop asking yourself what will happen if I become a storyteller, and start asking what all can happen if I become a storyteller. When I asked myself what will happen if I quit Shell, when I was getting a 6-digit salary on a monthly basis, the only answer was, "Pradeep, month end mein salary nahi aayega, chup bait, don't quit." Then the 6th month, I started asking what all can happen. I can go to colleges as a professor. At age 27, I was teaching in a girls' college, the dream life. At age 27, I was driving my car 10,000 kilometers a month. What all can happen? The moment you start asking what all can happen, life is extraordinarily brilliant. It's been a wonderful experience talking to you, Mysuru. My name is Pradeep Yuvaraj, and those are my coordinates. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yay, I got people to stand up. Please argue with me, share with me. Let's let the stories come. Yes, sir. So there's a wonderful book. Hold a second. Where's my phone? I am talking like Nityananda Swami. So there's this book called The Luck Factor. 4 simple principles that will change your luck and your life, right? Basically, luck happens when a lot of other things happen. It's a very, 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 very rare phenomenon where it's just purely luck. Luck is many things coming together, but because those things were happening, that's how it came. So for me, the luck was that, at that point of time, I was an intern. And my boss thought, okay, let him go and try it out. Kind of. So that was my luck. There was no common sense, actually.
And storytelling per se, we've also been doing storytelling all our lives. Everyone has got a story.
Absolutely. That's why I said I'll make you a better storyteller. I didn't say I'll make you a storyteller. Right.
And also, information and you fail, and succeed. But ours is more like try, let go, try, let go. And there's always been this, whether to continue or not to continue and stop, change. People in Mysuru still ask me, Suresh, what all things do you do in life? But I don't know, I can't answer that question, one. And second thing is, I've done almost everything that I could do. And now stuck to one thing. And I didn't stop. So now you say, what is it that storytelling per se would be for anybody who's trying, kept on trying? You left and you quit, but I'm at it.
Right. So there are two ways to look at it. One way is, I would say, sometimes you have to be pragmatic. If you realize that you're bleeding to death, you stop the bleeding. For me, that was deciding to accept that I was failure and close that company. I could have still run just for my ego and gone it. So that's one way of telling the story. The other way of telling the story is, perseverance. I didn't get your name, I'm sorry. Suresh. So Suresh has been doing the same thing for 30 years that he failed and he still said, no, I will not give it up. Right? Maybe you might succeed. Maybe that itself is your success, that you are able to continue doing it. Because sometimes we judge success with the wrong parameters. So if you look at it from money, maybe you're a failure, Suresh. But if you look at the treasure trove of knowledge and experience that you have, you are probably much more successful than many of them sitting here, right?
That is one perspective.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, do you think it's only perspective and storytelling that takes you further?
It takes you to a stage where you are able to convince people to do something that you want them to do. It is not the answer. It is the pathway to the answer, right? So that's the point. Yes, sir.
In that scenario, in what way storytelling is going to help?
So the problem, sir, I didn't get your name, I'm sorry.
I'm
Manjunath. So Manjunath, the problem is that people have started taking storytelling literally as stories. So yesterday I was at KDM and some of them, because someone has taught them about storytelling, they're telling stories. Now that is not the thing. Storytelling is nothing but understanding that Sabarishan is an investor, but more importantly, he's a human being. Can I bring him empathy about someone who's in the sea trying to do a boat? Because Sabarishan is struggling to understand, why should a guy with one single boat have communication? That is what is told. Yes, you humanize the context. When the moment you humanize the context, they are able to understand. That's what I meant. Thank you so much.
Pradeep. How much can a story help in that?
So story can bring the perspective in saying that why the numbers are not working. If the numbers are really screwed up, then God help you, right? And yesterday again in KDM there was this argument about how numbers have become so much of a thing that we are all dependent on. Okay? Because, like I said, the biggest worrying number that I see in any slide is the TAM, SAM, SOM. $1.7 billion worth market. How did you know much, huh? Right? How did you know how many people will buy this remote? Really? You can't predict those numbers. So you kind of take an average out of it. So there, by bringing in context. So, what's your name? I'm sorry? Rachna. Yes, Rachna. And the company numbers as well, right? So the company numbers. So just because a graph is dipping, does that mean that the company is failing? There's again this beautiful book called the J curve. Okay, I don't know whether the hockey stick, right? So many companies, they have to go dipping down before they start rising, and then you can't stop them. So, but if you as the CFO are able to understand that that's the pattern that is going, then it's easy to tell the story. But if you say, if you go to the investor and you, okay, if I show a negative number on the slide, he may not believe me. Okay, let's make it positive. Then people will start seeing through it. At least sensible investors, unlike the ones who put money in some companies that we know who are failing, they will always know through it because they have gone through business. Some businesses have to fail in the initial stage, which we have kind of come with a very bad word, burning money. I don't know who burns Lakshmi, but that's something again as a debate. So I hope that answers.
I come from a similar background in innovation, creativity and all that, so I could relate to most of the things that you were saying. But we also talk about empathy, challenge and get it simple, get to the problem statement first itself. All that is easier said than done, right? So
Absolutely.
you also know, and I also know that it is getting to the core is extremely difficult. And we have hundreds of tools, but to choose the right tool itself is a tough thing. So similar way, in your narratives, how do you choose a particular narrative? You took Ayyappan, probably, right? So how did you single out? How do you, is there a system or, I mean, it comes intuitively. It's very difficult, even for a startup.
So can I, if I
5 seconds, I'll come
were to, yeah.
If it's a startup, how do they pitch in the right way and tell this is exactly the thing? Because telling a story is one thing, but telling the right story is what matters.
Absolutely. So the honest answer to that is I don't know the answer. Okay, but I know the answer. Now I am talking like Swami Nityananda. Is that this comes out of trial and error. Even with our decks, typically the average has been version number 7.3 is the one where they have actually got it on target. Till then it's a trial and error. Like my friend Arnachalam Muruganandam in Coimbatore says, making mistakes is nothing but R&D. They call it in HLL R&D. For me, it is trial and error. So we do trial and error. Trial and error, connecting to this question that you said, starts becoming good luck with more experience. With more experience, we know that. Yeah. Because when we started off, I forgot your name, I'm sorry. Rakesh, when we started off, typically we always used to create one character and do it. Humanizing is what we had thought of. But lately, my team has come up with other ways to do that without bringing in a character, right? Yeah, sir.
So we'll go with one last question.
Yeah.
Which is more important, telling the right story or telling that story right?
Story right is what sometimes works better. Yeah. If you see my T-shirt, in my T-shirt it's written presentation matters. Telling the story also matters, right? So with Mohan's case, right, it was not the true story actually, but was I able to communicate the message? Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Done. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful pleasure.
This session made our beloved president to stay for the entire session, though he wanted to go with some other busy schedules. He stayed till the end. So this is how you have concreted this entire session. A good way to go now. I request our beloved President, Mr. Sudhanva Dhananjaya sir, to hand over the memento as a token of appreciation and gratitude to Mr. Pradeep Yuvaraj on behalf of TiE Mysuru. I request you on to be on the dais, sir.
An amazing session, quite a lot of takeaways, I would say. And going by that, empathy, being human, perspective, all that matters. I was just thinking how to make it even more simpler. And I was just thinking the nitty-gritties or the attributes, these things, who are the people who really are there in and around us, whom I can take examples. And one person that came to my mind was a film director. I'm sure he has the big picture, he knows the nitty-gritties, he knows the empathy, he knows the market, and he knows where the money is, and that's one. Looking at life, looking at what happens, is the one person that came to my mind was a stand-up comedian. These guys have amazing ability to look at life and convert it into kind of a conversation and a kind of a storytelling, which not only makes a story, but also makes us laugh. Anyway, Pradeep, the excellent program. Thanks very much on behalf of TiE. I'm sure we will have many more sessions, longer sessions, on behalf of the President, the board members, the charter members and the associate members and the guests here. I thank you very much for having come all the way and being with us today evening. I'm sure you have enjoyed your stay in Mysore as much as we have sitting on the other side of the dais. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.